Hello there, you psychotic, lovable, freakish, wondrous sociopaths, beautiful people. How are you? You kind-hearted, twisted, lovely, freakish, whimsical delights. How great it is to have you here with me. My name is Rumpelstiltskin. No, my name's Mischke. I'm still sick. The demon is still inside me. It is not COVID. I've tested negative for COVID, but it is something vicious, predatory. I call it not COVID, but Vidco. I believe I have something called Vidco. Vidco is not as well known, but a virus it is. Vidco has struck, and there's nothing I can do about it but ride it out. But it's been beating up my voice and beating up my very life for over a week now, kicking my candy carcass 6 ways to Sunday. I'm tired of it, but there's nothing I can do but put up with it. I think of what the guys put up with in the ocean when the Indianapolis was torpedoed. I'll never take cold medicine again, Chief. What you wanna do, what you wanna do, what you wanna do, what you wanna do. I read a quote today that was a little disturbing. I don't know what I was getting into. I think I was randomly grabbing books off my bookshelf, and I came upon one with a quote from William S. Burroughs. Hold on a minute while I sneeze. It's not coming, but it's teasing me. Anyway, the quote from William S. Burroughs went as follows. A psychotic is a guy who has just found out what's going on. I hope to God that's not true. A psychotic is a guy who's just found out what's going on? Keep me in the dark. No, I don't want to believe a psychotic is a guy who has just found out what's going on. I want to believe the old cookie lady in my neighborhood was the first one to really know what was going on, and when she figured it all out, she decided to spend the rest of her days as a cookie lady, handing out cookies to the children. I like to think she was the first one to find out what's really going on. Not a psychotic! I would have liked to have introduced William S. Burroughs to the cookie lady in my neighborhood when I was growing up. You know, all you would have had to do to make that a disturbing story would be change her sex, make it a guy luring people into his yard with cookies, and all hell would break loose. But this lovely woman, everyone was at peace with her. And what if William S. Burroughs was the cookie guy? Lawrence, Kansas. At the end of that dirt road there, that's Burroughs' house. That old guy lives alone there. Tries to get kids to come down the road by holding up cookies. Look at, he's holding up one now. Look at that guy. I'm not sure if he's psychotic or not. He claims to know what's going on, which leads me to believe he is psychotic. Bill, don't offer the kids cookies. Americans are falling behind on their car payments. I read that headline today. Americans, in general, are falling behind on their car payments. Record delinquency rates. Consumers apparently are struggling as wages stagnate and unemployment ticks higher. That idea of Americans falling behind on their car payments, it's the falling behind that intrigues me. Actually, just the falling. Just that Americans are falling. I'm getting behind, more and more behind. I'm falling behind. How is this happening? I'm sliding backwards. Oh, God. The ability to pay this off is moving further and further away. I'm never going to be able to catch up now. I'm too far behind. Honey, is the car still out there? It is still parked out front, yes. But someone is out there with a tow truck. No! What is it like, Americans? What is it like out there when you're dealing with the car dealership, purchasing your vehicle? What's it like for you? When you agree to pay off the car monthly over a period of time, what is that like now? Do you level with the person at the car dealership? You are going to be able to pay for this, aren't you, sir? Well, for a while, sure. What I mean is, you'll be able to pay till it's all paid off, right? Well, I'm going to pay a lot of it till it's all paid off, right, sir? I mean, you're definitely going to get some money from me. A fair amount of money, I might add. Well, sir, we're going to need all the money. Oh, all the money, huh? Let's not get greedy here. We all want all the money, sure we do. But let's agree to share some of the money in this world, huh? Let's not demand it all, okay? Sir, all of it means the full cost of the car. You need to pay the entire amount that the car costs. Relax. Let the car payment process begin and see how it goes. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm going to make the one payment next month, and probably another one after that. And as I say, let's play it by ear. See how it goes. Sir, what? Let's not try telegraphing the whole process. Let's not try to read the future. Let's let the future tell us what it's going to be, gradually, over time. Sir, you're planning to skip out on payments, aren't you? Of course I am. But the surprise is going to be, will I skip out early or late in the process? How much will you get from me? That's the fun question we get to play with. And the key word here should be play. Let's play together, you and I, and see what ends up finding its way into your wallet. Surely at some point in your life you've planned a picnic, and then when the day came around it was raining. Same kind of thing could happen here. That's called life. There's another thing I read today. These are just random things I've been coming across. I grab them and I bring them to the show. Here's a quote from director Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott. He says, "We are drowning in mediocrity out there. The quantity of movies that are made today, literally millions globally, most of them are crap. So what do? And it's a horrible thing to say, but I've started to watch my own movies, and actually they're really good." We're drowning in mediocrity, Ridley Scott says. The quantity of movies that are made today, literally millions globally, most of them are crap. So what I've been doing, and it's a horrible thing to say, but I've started to watch my own movies, and actually they're really good. I would have liked to have been the guy interviewing him and would have liked to have heard him say that. What are you saying exactly there, Ridley? What I'm saying is, if it's not clear, I make good movies, okay, and other people make bad movies, all right? Thus, when I want to watch movies, I watch my own movies, okay? It's like when I used to go to restaurants and then realized I'm a better cook than the people making this crap. Or when I would talk to people and would realize they're not as interesting as I am, and I would just start talking to myself in the car or in the shower. Some of the best conversations I've ever had, frankly. It's a horrible thing to say, but it's just something I came to realize. I remember being a kid, being in the midst of a prayer while I knelt beside my bed. I was just a little guy. All of a sudden I realized, what does this God person have on me? And I begged religion then and there. No kidding. It's a horrible thing to say, but it's just something I realized. I'm Ridley Scott, and unfortunately you are not. And that's what we have to live with. You have to live with it, I have to live with it. It's a horrible thing to say. It's just true. I was just noticing your wife there. She's not an attractive woman. And there are millions of wives out there now, millions. And it's a horrible thing to say, but none of them are any good. So I just stay with my wife. And I have to tell you, and it's a horrible thing to say, but she's great, and I got the one good one.
Go away.
But honey, it's movie night.
Go away.
Oh, come on, it's my movies. We're watching my movies.
Away.
Sweetheart, you love my movies.
Go away.
It's a horrible thing to say. If I were doing an ad for a big-time national bank right now, I'd be telling you how this is the most cutting-edge bank in America today. It offers the newest high-tech app, which is the hippest thing to come along in digital finance technology. And I'm not going to talk that way because I don't do ads for big banks like that. I do ads for North American Banking Company. They think spewing all that next big thing talk is a distraction. They think the best technology is the one that's been around for a long time. Humans working at banks dealing with humans who are customers. They believe the best service isn't a chat bot. It's a banker who remembers your name, knows your file before you even call. North American Banking Company doesn't spend its capital chasing trends. They spend it building relationships.
North American Banking Company. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Before the commute, before the chaos out there on the road, there's this moment. It's a moment when your garage door opens and you see it, that vehicle you got from Fury. It's not about the color, although that's beautiful. It's more than just the engineering, although that's extraordinary. It's really about the feeling you get when you realize you're not driving a car, you're driving your car. And the people who made sure you got your car, are the people at Fury Motors. They don't just sell cars at Fury. They curate your choices. From the rugged capability of Jeep or Dodge, to the refined luxury of Buick and GMC, to the grand tradition of Ford, they provide you with absolutely no pressure, just options. 4 distinct destinations, one common purpose, getting the right machine for you. Your next great adventure starts right now. Find a Fury Motors near you. Well, I think it's time to go to the phones. Check in with the listeners. Let's spin the big wheel and find out which listener is going to get a call today. I appreciate all you who've agreed to be on the listener callers list. If you'd like to be on the listener callers list, text your first name to 651-321-8949, and I'll randomly give you a call sometime and give you a little what for. Mike. Good old Mike. Wonder what Mike's story is.
We got new phone.
What the hell is going on over there?
Stay there. Quiet. Yeah, you stay there. Dogs are barking.
I don't hear any dogs. I heard a woman's voice. I hope you're not referring to her that way.
That's my wife.
Apologize right now to her.
She's outside talking to neighbors. I'm in here talking to you.
Go out to her and hand her the phone.
Wendy, you got to take this phone call. Hello?
Do you actually have dogs?
Yeah.
And your relationship is good, right? He's a decent guy?
Who is it?
There were some things he said that were just disturbing to me, and I couldn't hear a dog anywhere.
Who is he talking to?
Who's that woman talking right now?
My neighbor lady.
Would you please hand her the phone?
Okay. I'm the neighbor lady.
You sound like Gladys Kravitz.
Oh my gosh, that's an insult.
The relationship between this fella and his wife is pretty good.
Oh God, yeah.
How about your relationship with your husband?
I've been married 45 years. Want to talk to him too?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah, I want to.
What do you mean you do?
45 years
Oh.
you've been married to that woman, Gladys Kravitz?
Yes. I don't got her glasses. Yes, 45 years for sure.
What's your nickname for her? I mean, when no one else is around.
No nickname.
In all seriousness, does she call you Stud Muffin when the lights are off?
No.
No.
Okay.
But you know, when there's frost on a pumpkin, old Peter Duncan.
Let me write that one down.
Frost on the pumpkin. It's time to dip Peter Duncan.
All right,
much
pumpkin
pumpkin
eater.
now,
I
yeah.
mean, Mr. Peter, whatever the heck your name is.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're going to be Peter Pumpkin, let's call her Pumpkin Pie, okay?
Okay, that
right.
works. Good
All
one,
right.
bud. That works.
Good talking to you.
Bye. Hello?
Let's get back to the phone call. You better get in the house. I still don't believe you have dogs, but let's talk.
You know, I want to tell you before I forget, I met you about 1995.
Let me guess. In a restroom.
Nope. You were riding the local Burlington Northern, and you came up to my work on the track that runs from Minneapolis up to Duluth, and you stopped in Cambridge, and you had a railroad car full of potash you dropped off at my work. And you invited me into the locomotive, and the engineers were like, we got to go, we have a schedule. And you showed us around a little bit. We got to look around inside the locomotive.
Yeah, I remember that. I was riding that freight train that day with a couple of angry guys. The engineer and the conductor were about the least pleasant individuals I ever spent any time with, so I think you were a breath of fresh air. I found you and brought you into the locomotive to have someone interesting to talk to, because those guys either had been at it too long or were having trouble at home.
Me and a coworker, you invited us up in the locomotive. We got to shake your hand and say, nice to meet you, because we both listened to you back in the old days at KSCP, and I followed you along the whole time.
Weren't you a little bit surprised that I was taking a locomotive from the Twin Cities up to Duluth and that I was inviting random people into the locomotive as if it were my train?
Yeah, it was awesome. We had the time of our life just meeting you. We were so excited we couldn't hardly believe it when we saw you. It's like, we listen to you every day. You know what I mean? It was just awesome to actually see you in person and shake your hand and see you.
It
So
must.
I always wanted to tell you that story.
But it must have been a bit strange, because what was I doing taking a train? I mean, I was in the locomotive of a freight train. Wouldn't you at some point say, I understand you're a radio guy. Do you also drive trains around?
I don't know you. I don't remember it exactly.
Well, let me tell you what was happening there. I had decided that the Cowboys were over. The days of the Cowboys were behind us. And I determined that the new Cowboys, the new ones, who had that old cowboy spirit still in their veins, were the train engineers, the old truck drivers, the towboat pilots on the Mississippi, and the traveling minstrels, the people still driving cross-country, rolling into towns and singing songs, and then heading to the next gig. And so I wanted to ride in the locomotive of a freight train, ride in the pilot house of a towboat, taking a barge down the Mississippi, ride with a trucker across country, and roll with an old singer and his guitar from town to town. That was that last of the Cowboys spirit, and I wanted to know it. And you caught me when I was in the freight train part of all that. You see, deep down in my soul, I always thought I was a cowboy, but not in the sense that I drove cattle or spent time in rodeos, just that somehow the spirit of the cowboy in America was in me. It was just a spirit. I thought it ever since I was a very little kid. And then over the years, I would try periodically to live the life of a cowboy, but not, again, the cattle guy or the rodeo guy or the guy who has a shootout at the OK Corral, but the guy who just lives wild, just lives like a free man on this earth. I pulled it off for a lot of years. I remember one time I hopped a freight train. It was after my junior year in high school, and I got out to Montana. I get to this ranch in Circle, Montana, and they have these horses. And this guy there asked me if I want to go out riding. And I was a teenager, and I jumped on one. Well, let me tell you something. There is a moment of utter freedom when you're on a horse and you can't see anybody for miles, and you decide to see what that horse can do. And I took that thing as fast as you could possibly ride a horse. And I remember the wondrous realization when it's in full gallop at high speed, it was like a Porsche. It was smooth, and I was one with the land and the horse. It was the closest I've ever been to the afterlife. The only other time I had an experience akin to that, I had a pal when I was in high school, and he got one of I can't even tell you what kind of car it was, but it was one of those ones where it already was pretty wild and cool and souped up when he got it, and then he went to town on it and made it even more powerful. And he had some sort of hyperspace control on it. You know, like in Star Wars, where all of a sudden you press a button and whoosh. We were driving down Shepherd Road in St. Paul. He pressed this button and that car flew. I mean, it flew. It flew like a falcon, like we were off the ground. And I said, could I take it for a spin? And to this day, it's the fastest I've ever gone in a car. I would never do this again, and I don't recommend it to anyone, but I did 134 miles an hour. And at 134, once again, you become one with the car, one with the road beneath you.
Right,
there is no
right.
time. We should have died that night, and sadly, he did die a year later. Again, I'm not condoning any of this stuff. I'm just trying to isolate the moment of oneness and also the moment of being utterly wild and free on this earth. Those are moments, and they don't happen often. How about you? You ever have anything like that?
Well, fastest I had my motorcycle was up at about 150, 152. I was screaming.
Well, you're a maniac. I used to have a motorcycle, and I'd never do that. It's one thing to be in a car, belted in. On your motorcycle, you did that. Wow. By the way, mine was at 3:45 in the morning. There was no one out there.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
Mine was about 1 in the afternoon.
You know, the image in my head right now is of you cartwheeling through the air. I'm picturing at least 27 cartwheels as you're flying. I don't know what you hit, maybe a deer. And as you're cartwheeling 27 times, 26, 28, somewhere in there, I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if time slows the way people say it does in these accidents. And I wonder if he has time to think, that's cartwheel number 24, 25. I should have gone 55 miles an hour. How old were you?
About 25.
Your brain was fully formed. Once you're 25, your brain's fully formed. Mine was not. I was a teenager. I was stupid. Consequently, in the afterlife, I'm not going to have to do penance for that, but you are going to suffer greatly. Have you ever been to hell?
No.
Have you been to the western suburbs of the Twin Cities? It's the same thing.
Yes.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Anyway, you were on your motorcycle, and you wanted to be a cowboy. That's why you got a motorcycle, because you wanted a pony, and that was your pony. And you rode like I did across that Montana landscape. You opened it up, and the whole world became the great frontier. And a spirit arose in you. I can almost feel it coming right through you. Anyway, after I got done with that locomotive trip, the one where I met you, I did my last little run with the traveling singer. I had already gone down the Mississippi in a towboat and driven cross-country with a trucker. So the last thing I had to do was go traveling with this singer, guitar player, fella named Ramblin' Jack Elliott. Went on a little tour together, kept him company. Anyway, after taking that locomotive, after riding the Mississippi, after taking a cross-country trip with a truck driver, I became a father for the first time, shortly after those trips. And I looked at that little guy, and I said, "You're looking for your cowboy soul, aren't you, kiddo? Where are you going to find that in this day and age? The cowboys are gone, little guy." He had this mop of reddish, tangled blonde hair and a chubby face. And he looked up at me and seemed to be telling me that I was the one with the assignment to go help him find his cowboy soul. I had to go out and help him discover it. So I turned to the only cowboys I knew who were left, and I wrote a song about it all, and I called it Cowboys. Truck driver engineer, towboat pilot, balladeer. Tell me stories from the endless miles. Turn the head of this tangled haired child and fill his heart with the call of the wild. Running river, open road, steel rails and wide loads, dusty, lusty, rolling ragged jaw. Tuck it in the heart of this boy. Tangled hair boy, you are the cowboys now. You're the cowboys now. You're all that's left. You're all I know. You are the cowboys now. You are the cowboys now. And he is a child looking for a cowboy soul. I'm his daddy, he's my son. There's so much living to get done. One day they'll come and tell him to fall in line. Make the wind his angel, make the stars his guide. You are the cowboys now. You're the cowboys now. The frontier won't be here for long. You are the cowboys now. You are the cowboys now. He is a child waiting for his cowboy song.
Wow, that's a good song.
So tell me about yourself.
Are you recording all this?
Oh, I would never record this. That's the last thing I do. I don't know if you know me, but I'm not a guy who gets into calling people and recording conversations.
Yeah. I don't know. I mow grass and I plow snow.
Mow and plow. I think there's something noble about that. You're covering both ends of the year. The grass a-growing and the snow a-falling. I bet you're a happy guy. I don't think life is terribly complicated for you. You've got your lovely wife, you got Gladys Kravitz keeping an eye on the place, and you got the randy guy, Mr. Pumpkin Patch. You hear noises, think it's a coyote, but it's just that fella in the second floor bedroom. And then you have your dogs. What are your dogs' names?
Mine is Edith.
Could I pause you right there? You had a dog in front of you. You're looking at the dog, and you're saying to yourself, what are some good names for dogs? And the name Edith pops into your head.
Yep.
Okay.
My wife named her.
It's just a good thing you two didn't have a daughter. Because if you would have, God knows what her name would have been.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think? Her name would have been Thelma? Did you and your wife ever have kids?
Nope.
Never wanted them?
I got married too late.
How late?
41.
41.
She was already married to somebody else.
And you were waiting for her to get divorced?
Yep. My best friend dated her sister. And I met her and her husband at the time at her little sister's birthday party. And then I lost track of her for about a year. Later, her sister that was dating my best friend Trent said, hey, my sister's available. Why don't you give her a call?
When you were at this birthday party, did you look at her? Did you look at her and say to yourself, I'm going to keep track of this one?
We talked that whole night at the birthday party. I didn't keep track of her, but we talked the whole night at the birthday party. And
what was the husband doing while you were talking?
He went upstairs and went to bed because he had to be at his other job in the morning.
So there you are, talking to your future wife. Hubby's going to sleep, completely unawares. Meanwhile, the seeds are being sown down below. I think that's what Bob Seger meant when he was singing The Fire Down Below. I think he might as well have been this woman's husband upstairs going, look out for Wendy. She's moving pretty fast. I'm not long for this marriage. She's gonna kick my ass.
Maybe.
Maybe. So how long after you started dating her did you marry her?
Year later.
Year later. Did you make sure you had one good fight before you walked down the aisle?
Oh, yeah, we had our ups and downs like
Sure.
everybody else.
Sure, attaboy.
There's arguments between coworkers or wives and husbands and whatever, you know.
Yeah, I've been working on a song about a man and a woman fighting. Tiring of it all. They've had their run-ins, and on this particular night, this fella's saying, I got nothing in me anymore. The lyrics go a little something like this. Stop your crying, I'll stop shouting, I'll stop my whining, you stop your pouting. Got no fight left tonight, my darling. Turn off that TV, come up and see me. I don't bite, but you don't believe me. Got no fight left tonight, my darling. Yeah, I got mad, made you feel bad, messed up the best thing that I ever had. I'm up here feeling sorry, you're down there feeling so sad. But if you stopped your crying, I stopped my shouting, I stopped my whining, and you stopped your pouting, there'd be no more fighting, no more lightning, no more thunder. You could come on under these covers, and we'd be lovers again. So, did you want to ask me anything? I know I've hogged most of this phone call.
I'm so grateful you called me because I love listening to your show. To me, it's not on enough. 2 times a week's not enough for me, but I take what you give me, I guess. I mean, I'm lucky to have that.
What do you think you're going to do when you die?
I don't know. Hopefully go to heaven.
What if you don't?
Oh, boy.
I mean, what if you don't?
I don't know.
I mean, think about it right now. What if you do not?
Hope I don't
But
go the
what-
other direction.
What if you do?
Got to deal with it, I guess.
Well, but how will you deal with that?
Wow.
We sure have covered a lot of territory.
Yes, we have. Well, nice talking to you, Tommy.
Boy, it's been great visiting with you as well. Maybe we'll run in.
Call me again sometime.
I will, and maybe I'll run into you on a train.
You never know.
Bye-bye now. When was your house built? 1980? 1950? Maybe it's a classic turn-of-the-century landmark. Whatever the year, your home relies on systems most people never think about until those systems stop working. That's where Minneapolis-St. Paul Plumbing, Heating, and Air comes in. They've been taking care of Twin Cities houses since 1918. They've mastered every furnace, every boiler, every pipe, and every AC unit. They didn't learn heating, they grew up with it. They didn't learn plumbing, they wrote the book on plumbing. From the temperamental steam boiler and a brownstone to the latest high-efficiency heat pump, mini-split, whatever, their technicians are simply on a different level. I like to call it mastery. It means the job's done right the first time. And not because Minneapolis-St. Paul Plumbing, Heating, and Air is guessing, but because they've seen the problem and solved it 1,000 times before. Remember, they've been around since 1918. Call MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air. When a loved one faces memory loss, the decision for their care is the hardest to make because it comes with the question, how can we give them the comfort they need, the aid they need, the services they need in a warm, loving environment? How can we put all that together? The Welshire is not a facility, they're a neighborhood. The Welshire of Bloomington and Medina offer places where life doesn't stop, it just adjusts. At the Welshire, days are filled with purpose and familiarity. A trip to the on-site ice cream shop, a fresh haircut at the barber or the salon, a quiet afternoon in the library, or the beautiful secure courtyards and gardens. At the Welshire, they have their own cinema for movie night. But beneath the comfort, beneath that setting, is a key defining difference, their clinical structure. The Welshire provides 4 distinct neighborhoods, each dedicated to a specific stage of memory health. This is care engineered for their specific needs. If you're seeking a community that understands quality of life is everything, choose the Welshire.
Hello?
Guess who this is?
Mischke.
You're darn right.
How you doing?
I'm well. Boy, sounds like a lot's going on over there. What do you got going?
There's a lot going on. I'm at my shop right now where I work.
What's your shop?
I'm a screen printer. My business is in an old warehouse building, kind of like a bomb shelter vibe. Just one of the super old factory buildings in northeast Minneapolis.
I don't know anything about the screen printing business, but can you make a living?
Yeah, I mean, it's a miracle every month, but you definitely can make a living. We get to print a lot of cool stuff for a lot of local artists. I moved up here with my partner to take over the business.
From where?
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri.
Good old Kansas City. I really like that town. I used to live in Lawrence. Yeah, I spent a year living in Lawrence, Kansas, and that was just 25 miles away, so I went into Kansas City all the time.
I remember your road show when you met Superman Jesus.
Did you know Superman Jesus?
I knew him like everyone in Kansas City knows him. I remember hearing that years ago. And then my partner moved to Independence, Missouri for artist residency, and we listened to that episode where you talked about the hair museum.
Yeah.
We visit there pretty often. So after hearing that episode, the next time we were in town, we drove out to it.
Yeah, that whole area provided a lot of subjects for road shows over the years. I met a nudist in a town of 150 people. He was very serious about it. It wasn't a religion, but it was a very, very important sacred lifestyle to him. And I actually was fascinated by his story. I learned more about nudists talking to him than I ever would in anything I've ever read. The powerful thing he said that I still remember to this day was he was 15 years old. And it was the first time in his life he went to bed with no clothes on. And he got under the covers. And it was like he was born again. He just realized, my God, this is incredible. And he just never wanted to wear them again. But it was that weird moment of climbing into bed at 15, first time you've ever experienced this, and it being almost a religious experience. And he just never wanted to wear them again. Of course, he did when he had to. But otherwise, at his house where I visited him, he had built about a 10-foot high fence around the yard. But the whole town knew him, and interestingly, they were pretty good to him. Some kept their distance, but nobody really bothered him. So there was that guy. And then I remember another guy who was a prepper. He was in his 20s, and he was getting ready for the end of the world and really covering all the bases. And I met him in a park somewhere in Missouri and went over all his plans for the end of the world.
The Midwest is full of amazing and weird people. I love it.
It really is.
People think it's a lot more boring than it is, but it's like literally there's everybody. And most people don't care. Like you're saying with the nudist, most people don't really care what people are up to, actually.
No, and actually you can find in most small towns the odd guy everybody knows and sort of protects. You know, don't make fun of him. We can every now and then, but don't you make fun of him. He's our weird guy. I remember in Lawrence, Kansas, there was a guy who would wheel around a nude mannequin in a shopping cart. And I learned from the people on Massachusetts Avenue there that, no, he's okay. He's been around here for years. There's something a little wrong with him, but he's a good guy. He's all right. And so he was protected. In Lawrence, they had the Museum of the Odd. Did you ever go there?
No, I don't think so, but I've heard of that place.
My favorite thing in Kansas City, and I did a show on this, is it the West Bottoms where they have the haunted houses?
Mm-hmm.
That is the area where the haunted house as an entertainment venue where it was born. Kansas City gave birth to that whole concept, and they still do it better than anyone else.
That's so crazy. I didn't realize that. I know those old buildings.
A crazy one they had that I went to, you entered on the main floor and you began to go up floor to floor to floor. It was all in the dark and terrible things would happen as you arrived at each floor. And you were constantly terrified that something was going to grab you. And then you'd get to another floor and you just didn't understand what the end game was here. And it got worse and worse. And then all of a sudden, at the very top of the building, so maybe 5 stories high, you entered a room and there was a bar and lights and lovely music and happy people, and everyone was dressed in white, and it was, come on in, pal, welcome, what can I get you? And you didn't get it at first, and then you realized you're in heaven. It was heaven. It was actually a depiction of how they imagined heaven, and it was beautiful and lovely and friendly and warm, and then they pointed to the way out, and you opened a door, got in a chute, a tunnel, and went down 6 stories, all 5 that you had climbed all the way to the basement and came out in hell. And hell...
Oh, yeah, I've seen the chute. It, like, goes outside the building. Goes all the way down.
And hell was hell. Hell was hell. And I thought, well, if nothing else, that's the most creative operation I've ever encountered. But when I got out down at the bottom in hell, there was a guy there who was holding a real rat, an actual rat, and he was putting the live rat in his mouth.
Oh, my God.
They went all out there. They went all out. And then you could go a half a block over to the next haunted house. I loved hanging out there.
That's where I was born and raised, so
yeah.
I absolutely love it there. We visit pretty often. It's only 6.5 hour drive from
exactly
the Twin Cities.
6.5. A lot of people don't realize that. They think, well, it's got to be a lot farther than Chicago. Nope. I used to barrel down there regularly. 6.5, boom, right there in the heart of Kansas City. How do you like Minnesota?
I've loved it. You gotta adjust to the winter, just change your relationship with that winter in Kansas City. I mean, it's kind of just a lot more depressing and gray and gets really icy and is dangerous. And here, there's just a lot more you can do in the snow and outside and everything like that. So I've learned to love it. I love the heat and the sunshine, so it's kind of crazy being here, but it's really special. I've loved living up north. I never thought I would live here, but I've really loved it.
I wrote a book about embracing winter.
Yeah, I've got it. Me and my partner, Tori, came to your book signing and met you.
Oh, good.
And bought the book. When was that? 2 years ago or so?
Oh, well, I'm glad you did. I was just going to say there's some information there that's helpful. When you were born and your parents gave you the name Hope, was there a reason for that?
Yeah, so when my mom was 2 months or something into the pregnancy, she lost the baby and then went into the doctor, and then they went and looked and found a heartbeat. So apparently I had a twin. So after that, the rest of the pregnancy for 7 months, she was at bed rest and just taking it really, really easy so she didn't lose the other baby. And so it gave her hope to hear a heartbeat.
It's such a lovely name. First of all, it's a lovely word. It's just a lovely word, maybe one of the loveliest ever. And then as a name, it's very simple and very easy. It's got a lovely sound to it. I'm surprised it isn't used more often.
My parents did pretty good, and they were pretty thoughtful naming everybody.
How many were in your family?
I have 12 siblings, so
what?
13.
Your mother had 13 children?
Yeah.
And she was going to have 14. Twins. That would have been the other one if she had the twin.
She actually started, my oldest brothers are twins, so she started with twins.
So she potentially could have had a second set of twins.
Yep. Yeah, she's crazy, though. She started with twins, and then, so she'll tell people, she goes, oh, well, I mean, I started with twins, so it was just easy after that.
Yeah,
what?
My mother used to be jealous of anyone who had more kids than she did. She had 8. She wanted 10, but she started to have miscarriages and couldn't have any more babies. But boy, was she jealous anytime she found someone with 13. Are all 13 still alive?
Yes.
That's rather extraordinary. I may have a twisted view of this, but I think it's astounding to make it to adulthood. I think it's amazing when
agree.
any kid makes it to adulthood.
I absolutely agree. It's a complete miracle. I'm 32 or 3, something like that. But I remember when I turned 30, I was like, oh my God, I made it through my 20s. I can't believe it. It really is a miracle. I totally agree.
All the different ways there are for it to go south, all the different times that there's a close call. And I mean little things. I remember one time I was stepping off a curb in Chicago and something caught my eye. And I turned and stepped back up because I just thought something was happening that I should take note of. And it turned out to be nothing. But in the stepping back, a car sped by about 6 inches from me at a high speed. That would have taken me out. I would have been finished there. Now, that's one moment, just one moment. And there are so many of those, hundreds of those throughout a life. So when you get to adulthood, it's shocking. And then the fact that 13 are still around.
I know. The amount of times my family's been to an emergency room.
Yeah.
Just out of control.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my brother got hit by a car doing 60 miles an hour on Highway 8 in Wisconsin at 9 years of age. Went flying through the air, was in a coma for a long time. I mean, who survives that? What 9-year-old can get hit by a 65 Chrysler on Highway 8, barreling down the highway at 60 and survive? He was picking up a dead bird. There's so many ways to go.
Crazy.
Well, I'll let you go. I've enjoyed talking with you. I'm glad I caught up with you.
Thanks for talking.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything that you do. It's brought a lot of joy and entertainment and laughter, and probably a little bit of tears. We've listened to a lot, probably most of your episodes on a drive, either to Kansas City or on the way back or on road trips. So when episodes come out, we would always save them for a little bit until we would go out of town so we could listen to Mischke.
Well, that's great to hear. I do always believe the road is the best place for listening. I've always thought the car is the ideal spot.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
Is it Tori? Tori is your partner, right? I do actually remember you guys now. You met me at the Dubliner.
Yeah.
I just flashed on it. Anyway, the reason I wanted to get her name right, I was going to leave you with say hello to her.
Oh, I will. Thanks so much, Mischke.
Yeah, you bet. I'll see you. Bye-bye. All right, we'll take a break. Back on the other side. In the world of investing, there's no substitute for experience. The markets shift, the landscape changes, but the core principles of building and protecting wealth, that remains constant. For over 40 years now, Josh Arnold has been guiding clients through every economic cycle, every boom, every downturn. He's not learning on your dime. He's applying 4 decades of tested, proven wisdom to your future. When it comes to retirement, you deserve the best. Someone who can clearly see where you are and expertly chart the path forward. That's Josh Arnold. His experience is your greatest asset. Right now, you can tap into that asset. He's offering you 48 minutes free. Call him, 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security and investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. Tommy Mischke is a paid endorser.
You don't just need eyewear, you need to see. You don't just want glasses, you want art. Spectacle Shop. Step past the ordinary, step over the boring, step around the mundane, push aside the typical, the expected. Visit Spectacle Shop, a sanctuary for the truly visionary. They don't follow trends at Spectacle Shop. They curate beauty. They define style. Their collection contains the largest volume of authentic vintage frames in North America. You'll find designer frames at Spectacle Shop that the rest of the country won't see for another few months. They don't outsource trust. Their doctors are on staff because vision is too important for compromise. Prescription perfection, guaranteed. They don't send your lenses out like others. They have an in-house lab. Your lenses are made right there, and the result speaks for itself. Readers of the Star Tribune have chosen Spectacle Shop, best eyewear shop in the entire state of Minnesota, 5 straight years in a row. I was in a cafe the other day eavesdropping, as I will do. I'm kind of a professional eavesdropper. Well, I would be if the job paid. It does not, so I'm an amateur. But I will say if they ever did pay eavesdroppers, I'd be your top paid eavesdropper. I'd be your number one pro eavesdropper. There are none out there better than I. I've been eavesdropping all my life, listening to the people in the booth behind me, listening to people down the bar from me, getting a little close to the people at the bus stop trying to pick up what they're saying, pretending I'm reading at the barber shop when I'm just eavesdropping. It's not the same as being a peeping Tom, because this isn't in a private world, really. I mean, I'm not hiding in their bathroom. These people are in public. Yes, they think they're having a private conversation, and they are not, because I'm picking it up. I have really good ears, great ears. I was blessed with that. It makes up for my eyesight. I have terrible eyes, but good ears. And I like to listen to what's going on in other people's private lives. So I was listening to this woman talk to a friend of hers, and she mentioned that Maureen was preggers. She said, did you know Maureen is preggers? Preggers, she said, meaning pregnant, but she went with the term preggers, which made me want to pick up my porcelain coffee cup and send it across the room, shattering it against the wall, just to get out some rage. I don't know why. I just don't understand why we can't say pregnant. Apparently we can't. When it comes to euphemisms for pregnancy, it's really astounding, all the different things I've heard over the years. What was wrong with the word pregnant? Pregnant seems so innocuous. Does pregnant sound like a naughty word? She's pregnant. It just sounds like a fine word. It's just very clear. Maureen is pregnant. She couldn't say that. She's preggers. She's eating for two. Did you hear Maureen is eating for two? I used to hear that when I was a kid. Or you'd hear the classic bun in the oven. Bun in the oven. That also made me want to hurl a coffee cup across the room. Bun in the oven? I watched my gerbil when I was a little kid eat its newborn baby. And that's what I would think of every time after that when I would hear bun in the oven, because it sounded like they were waiting for it to be done so they could eat it. Throughout history, they've had all sorts of euphemisms for pregnant because you just didn't say that word. Here are some old ones you've probably never heard. These are old, antiquated euphemisms for pregnant. Apron up. Eating dried apples. In an interesting situation. In the pudding club. In the spud line. Knit. K-N-I-T. Knit. Maureen is knit. And my favorite? The rabbit died. The rabbit died. I don't know where to begin with that one. Apron up is a nod to women wearing aprons to obscure their pregnancies. It also can refer to the inevitable raising of the apron's profile as the baby grows. Eating dried apples. The expression dates back to 19th century America. Dried fruit swells when placed in water. In an interesting situation. Charles Dickens would write that. A particular character in his book was in an interesting situation. Goes back to the 1700s. In pod. That was another one. In pod. That goes back to the 19th century. And they also said put in pod. Or put into pod. The way someone might say, got knocked up. Knocked up? That may be the most disturbing of them all. Knocked. Knocked around. She got knocked around for a while and knocked out, and then she got knocked up. Well, put that guy in prison. In the pudding club. In the pudding club. British used to say that. Because a pregnant belly is round like a traditional British pudding. It never caught on in America, but the Brits loved, she's in the pudding club. Look at her. You're in the pudding club, pudding club, pudding club. You're in the pudding club, a pudding club for you. Women would walk down the street and the guys would all of a sudden go into this kind of dance. Pudding club, the pudding club, the pudding club. You're in the pudding club. Someone put you in the pod. The spud line. The spud line, 20th century. Its roots are unclear. Knit. Had nothing to do with knitting baby clothes. Dates back to the 1600s. Nobody understands why that term was used. And my favorite, the rabbit died. That was inspired by a 20th century pregnancy test that involved injecting the possibly pregnant person's urine into a juvenile rabbit and checking for changes to the animal's ovaries. The scientist would kill the rabbit in order to examine its organs, so the expression actually makes no sense. The rabbit would be dead even if you weren't pregnant. It's odd, though, that you would ever say, it's better to say she's in an interesting situation than to say she's pregnant. I think people spend a lot more time thinking about the interesting situation when you say it that way. They take interest in it. Whereas when you just say pregnant, they move on. But, oh, she's in a what? An interesting situation. In order to have ended up in an interesting situation, she must have, how you say, done something interesting. They did something interesting together, didn't they? Oh, they did indeed. Some 9 months ago. It's quite clear that things must have got interesting. Yes, they were in their bedroom in an interesting situation. I guess you would say situated interestingly. Or another way of saying it is the rabbit died. I'm sorry, what did you say? The rabbit died. What the hell are you talking about? The rabbit died. So she's in a spud line now. In a spud line in the pod. The rabbit died. See? Yes, it's dead. It's a corpse. The rabbit is rotting away in a grave. It's eating dried apples in a spud line, no doubt with its apron up, knitting with the doggone pudding clubhouse there. Let's go with pregnant. Or let's come up with a brand new one right now. Something never before thought of. How about tending a secret garden? Commissioning a little masterpiece? How about she's carrying a pocket universe? She's renting out a womb office? Let's go with pregnant. And that's about gonna do it for this show. Thank you all for hanging out with me. We'll do it again real soon. So long for now.